Meeting Thursday, December the 10th. Meeting Thursday, December the 10th. It is 5:34 p.m. We're in the Amber Yuri Boardroom, and our first item on here is roll call. Cecilia May Moreno, present. Mr. Noyola, absent. Jesus Martinez, absent. Jose Valdez, absent. Ricardo Garza, absent. Hector Garcia, absent. And Jose R. Perez, absent. This is a committee. We don't have a quorum, but we do not need a quorum. So Pledge of Allegiance, Dr. Nelson.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item,
Thank you, Dr. Moreno. We'll turn it over to Ms. Ayala, our Chief Financial Officer, to take us through our first few agenda items. Ms. Ayala?
Thank you, Dr. Nelson. Good evening, Madam Board President, colleagues, and members of the public. I'll begin with item number 1, which reads, discussion and presentation to approve and/or ratify the monthly disbursements for October 2015 at the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees, December 2015. The total cash disbursements recorded were $19 million, of which $14 million were for the payment of payroll costs and $4.9 million for the payment of goods and services. May I proceed, Madam?
yes, thank you.
Item number 2, discussion and presentation to approve monthly reports and other updates and reports. I'll begin with the unaudited financial statements. And this will be for as of the October 31st, 2015. Under gifts and bequests, donations for the month of October were recorded at $18,465, while the fiscal year-to-date donations totaled to $26,330. Under our monthly revenues, we recorded earned $27.4 million, which it represents 8% more than October 2014 in the amount of $1.9 million. While on the year-to-date amount, we have earned $52.9 million, which is 9% or $4.3 million more when compared to the same period last year. Next, we have our tax collection summary. The September to October collections were recorded at 13.8, which is 49.08% of the budgeted amount of $28.2 million, which is great, wonderful. And the October collections, which was the first month of the tax year, were recorded at $14 million, which is almost 50% of the opening levy amount, which is a great collection rate.
I don't remember.
Here we have expenditures by object. Total expenses for the month of October were $18.4 million, which we spent less than 1% when we compare those expenditures to October 2014. Then under the fiscal year-to-date amount, we recorded expenditures at $36.1 million, which is 1% more, or about $200,000 when comparing those expenditures to the same period last year. Here we have those same expenditures by function. The greatest amount of expenditures were spent in instruction in the amount of $23.4 million, which represents 64% of those total expenditures, followed by plant maintenance and operation in the amount of $3.3 million, which represent about 10% of those total expenditures.
Ms. Ayala? Dr. Moreno, you want to recognize Mr. Garza is here for the record?
Yes.
539.
Yes, go ahead and mark yourself, President.
I am officially here.
Yes.
Under the other financing sources and uses, we transferred out $763 $100,000, which is about $160,000 more when we compare it to the same period last year. Next, we have our administrative cost ratio, the standard being 11.05. Our amended budget stands at 8.31%, and our fiscal year-to-date amount stands at 5.67%. Here in this slide, we have the general operating fund in summary format. Under revenues, $52.9 million, which is 26% of the budgeted amount, which is above the 17% when you compared it to the time lapsed. And we have expenditures of $36.1 million with encumbrances of $5.8 million, which the sum represents 21% of the budgeted amount of $197.3. Next, we have the Child Nutrition Program Summary, Fund 101, total revenues $4.4 million, which is 23% of $19 million, which is the budgeted amount. And we have expenditures of $3 million with encumbrances of $7.3, whose sum represents 54% of the amended budget. Here we have the E-rate fund, total revenues $53,450, which is 17% of the amended budget amount, and expenditures of $106,000 with encumbrances of $655,000, which is about 17% of the amended budget. Bless you. Here we have the athletics fund, revenues $80,000, which is 40% of the amended budget of $202,000. And we have expenditures of $249,000 with encumbrances of $213,000, whose sum represent 31% of the amended budget of $1.4 million. We have here our debt service fund, total revenues generated $3.5 million, which is 13% of the amended budget of $26.8 million, and we have expenditures of $2,300. We have not issued out a payment yet. Next, we have the summary for the special revenue funds. If you have any questions, we do have the Director of Federal Programs here that can assist in answering your questions.
Just a couple, with reference to, I guess, the idea or the mentality behind it now, that we continue to focus on the revenues that are available and still sticking with the process that we wanted to get more input from principals in terms of getting more. It's on? More? You want me to get my voice up?
Sí.
Go ahead. Yeah, that we set that program so that we can get more input from the principals and have more, be ready to spend the monies as they come along, not to wait until the end of the year to do so. I guess that's going to be a common theme at every meeting. We're going to have to be mentioning that so it can kind of, everybody can get on the ball and have that attitude. All right.
Yes, and we're going to be reminding them,
Constantly.
checking reports to make sure that they get those resources during the year and not wait until the end of the year.
Okay.
Okay.
Lastly, we have the summary of construction funds. Any questions on that? If not, Madam Board President, may I proceed?
Well, let me ask you something on the construction funds. Are we getting, I know we have monies that are left over. Can you isolate, because it's going to be, there's going to be a question about this, I don't know if at the next meeting or as we go along, on what can we spend the money on. And from my point of view, I'd like to keep it at each individual campus that had the savings and give them first option.
We don't do that.
Okay.
Unfortunately, what we do is we finish the projects, any leftover proceeds go to the following project.
Following new brick and mortar
Whatever-
project?
Right, because we do have a list of projects that need to be completed. Once we close out the projects, those savings, if you will,
Yeah.
they go to fund the following project.
As a point of reference, what I wanted to get at is, for instance, well, and as you know, there's some areas at Martin, at Nixon, and at Ciarroa that need work. Nixon's vocational department was left out of any or anything as far as this
Redesign.
redesign. And the monies that were left over at Nixon, I wanted to make sure that we apply them towards that area, because those buildings are seriously dilapidated on the inside, and there's work to be done there. I just didn't want to have those monies saved for that reason, and then for them to be allocated somewhere else for whatever reason. Can we look at that like that?
Absolutely. May I say one thing, Dr. Moreno?
Yes.
Thank you. So your points are well taken, and, we're going to bring a detailed update on this. One of the things I wanted to put in the record, because my office has already coordinated a draft of the regular agenda.
Okay.
And without violating any, Open Meetings Act, under this question, I would like to call Homer Pice to the podium. And the question I have for you, Homer, or Angel, you can join them if you'd like. But on the Nixon project, just for where we're headed with this, we have a contingency fund.
Yes, sir.
And is it accurate, or please clarify for the record as the board prepares to make some decisions and discuss and possibly take action next week? Is it accurate that there's approximately $250,000 left in the Nixon contingency fund?
I would have to check for the exact amount, because we have dipped into it a couple of times, but there should be monies in place, yes, sir.
And the reason I bring that up, Dr. Moreno and Mr. Garza, is because, it's really the will of the board on what we do. And, I've visited with Dr. Moreno this afternoon about some questions that need to be answered, and I understand that. But I just want to be clear, as you bring up, well, there's lots of things that need to be done as we finish that project. Well, that's exactly right. So if you do one item, let's say turf,
Yeah.
well, then you hadn't done anything yet for FFA. Now, granted, for the record, you don't have to. We got other funds, and we can piecemeal our capital improvement plan to address anything this board identifies as a priority. So we could do a whole career and tech wing at Nixon if that was this board's desire, and identify funding. But I just wanted our construction director to really come in.
That's a great point, and a point of discussion that we're going to have is whether or not those other funds are available to do this, whether not this year or next year, but that we have it in our sights, that we're going to go there. In other words, I know that some of those areas do need money immediately. I know that because I've already walked the areas, and I know that they need it. My point is that, okay, don't worry about that, Rick. Let's go ahead and put it in our sights, and we're going to do something bigger and better for them. So then I won't have to come back and say, the things that I'm saying right now.
I understand.
So that we can all be.
I think the important thing is that we maintain that capital improvement plan up to date, that when we identify projects that we may not have funding for, but we know they need to be done, that they need to get on that plan.
I agree.
Because then it's easier, to go in and identify from your capital, but just to bring projects in when that capital improvement plan is never, it's never going to be completed,
Well-
but we do need to put our
It's a plan.
projects.
Right.
Exactly, and in particular, we need to make sure that it represents the recommendation of staff.
And also the level, so that it won't be a superficial project in terms, I don't like to use that word, but that we take care of the ones that are an immediate need.
Yes, sir.
But again, I just don't want to allocate those funds to that, and then we have to go into that building again because we have a larger plan for that. And I think that's where I want to get at, that we identify the immediate needs, but that immediate need is part of a bigger picture that we're going to take care of. So we can put it to the side, and we can allocate them somewhere else.
Right.
Yes, sir.
I think that's the attitude that I like to see.
The last thing, just under this construction conversation, loosely. You know, as the gatekeeper for construction in Laredo ISD, I would ask you, I would request, I would encourage you to start really developing your list of items that, based on your professional opinion, we need some direction on with the Nixon project and the VMT project. For example, if at Nixon, one of the things we're discussing is adding turf to the practice field. Another thing that's up is, are we going to make any addendums to the Kate area? Because we didn't. We failed to, as we built the program, we specifically left that out. So that's two things on the list. And if there's anything else in your professional opinion, well, then I need that so that I can provide a comprehensive overview of anything that's left to be done.
Right.
Likewise, on the VMT project, we have an agenda item that I'm going to be tabling later in this meeting to release the final retainage. I already spoke to your supervisor about this. And the reason I'm doing it is because there really has to be a united front presented to the board that if they're going to release the final retainage on that project, it's my opinion, according to the board president, the principal, the construction director, your supervisor, and myself really all need to agree that everything has been completed, and we're not at that point yet. And so I just would publicly, under the construction, you know, and I've said enough, you know, help me organize. No, this is not the contractor's responsibility. No, this was fine, this was perfect when we got it, but today it's broken, and we're going to have to identify, this is under warranty, whatever, so that when we ask to release the retainage, the board has confidence that there's not going to be anything that bubbles up a month or 2 or 3 months. You have anything you want to add on that, Dr.
No,
Moreno?
I think you've said it well.
Okay, so that's just some feedback, and we'll work on this tomorrow.
Okay, yes, sir.
Anything else on construction, Dr. Moreno, Mr. Garza?
No.
If not, may we proceed? Mr. Ayala?
Well, let's go back to that slide that you had up there. We can't see it in ours.
Oh, there. I'm sorry, there's a
Okay,
3-second
a
delay.
delay, right. Okay, what this is saying is that from your 2005 bond series, there's 54 available.
Right.
Those have not been appropriated for any project.
No, ma'am.
From the
They're
20
available to be appropriated to the next project.
Right, there, from the 206, there's 33,000 available.
Yes, ma'am.
And then, of course, from the 2014, we have a big amount. Then, that's the only money available that's not appropriated right now.
Well, yes, ma'am. The answer is yes, but the 54.2, the board still needs to, they need to approve
Well, right.
projects.
That's what I'm saying, it's not appropriated. We haven't.
No, not on all the
There's a purpose
projects.
for it, it's not that it's out there totally free.
Correct.
But, but it hasn't been appropriated yet.
Yes.
Okay, now, in terms of appropriated money and not totally completed, is that,
You'll see that we still have encumbrances in the approved projects section.
Yes.
So that means that something is still ongoing and has not been closed.
okay, so under that section, we're saying that the projects we've spent 69 million, and there's an encumbrance of 1.3 for a total of 7.1. 71. Is that
71.
basically what we're saying? But that project, it hasn't all been cleared out yet?
Yet, correct.
Okay.
Perhaps those encumbrances, which means they're open POs, maybe there's, maybe savings once
There could
the
be
final
savings
punch
that haven't been
list.
closed out.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. And the transfer in, those are money that were transferred in for these projects?
For some of the projects, for instance, we assisted with the portable city, well, we recuperated that. I'm trying to remember, the admin building, now it's going to be part of that. So we've transferred some of those funds already.
Okay.
Under item 3, discussion and presentation on the following budget amendments. Item 3A, BA 1516-11, discussion and presentation to approve the general operating fund budget amendment in the amount of $4,902,312 to appropriate the projects from committed fund balance and other committed fund balance. Item 3B, BA 1516-16, discussion and presentation to approve the general operating fund budget amendment in the amount of $18,473 as a result of transfers between functional expenditure categories. Item 3C, discussion and presentation to approve the operating fund budget amendment in the amount of, and it should be $35,700 as a result of transfers between functional expenditure categories from the Board of Trustees discretionary funds. Any questions? Item 4, discussion and presentation to approve and award the following bids, proposals, quotations, and contracts. Item 4A, this is a renewal, DIR Co-op vendor number DIR-SDD-2068. This is for Apple iPads, iPads applications, and iPads integration services. The Evaluation Committee recommends renewal of the contract to Apple Inc. for an estimated amount of $4,932,662. Item 4B, this is also a renewal, TASB Buy Board Co-op number 482-15. This is for interactive teaching equipment. The Evaluation Committee recommends renewal of the contract to Education 2000 for an estimated amount of $396,847. Item 4C, this is also a renewal. This is the DIR Co-op vendor number DIR-SDD-1962. This is for virtual desktop infrastructure. The Evaluation Committee recommends renewal of the contract to Insight Public Sector for an estimated amount of $1,335,101. Item 4D, renewal, RFP number 13-026. This is for tortilla products. The Evaluation Committee recommends renewal of the contract to Exquisita Tortillas and Tortillas Santos for an estimated amount of $105,000. Item 4E, renewal, TASB Buy Board Co-op number 407-12. This is for classroom supplies. The Evaluation Committee recommends renewal of the contract to Mentoring Minds for an estimated amount of $265,000. Item 4F, TASB Buy Board Co-op vendor number 415-12. This is for the installation of doors and security hardware at Farias. The Evaluation Committee recommends awarding a contract to IDN-Acme for an estimated amount of $50,000. Item 4C, DIR Co-op vendor number DIR-TSO-2538. This is for laptops and desktops computers. The Evaluation Committee recommends awarding a contract to Insight for an estimated amount of $4,201,000 with $20.
Can I stop you on that one? And this might not be a direct question for this. I kind of bring it up every month. Do you know if we have a policy or do we report on the success rate of any of these things? Do we have to go to committee to figure out a year later whether some of these things that we're getting are working or are being successful?
There is a component on the federal fund side on an annual report. I know there's some responses that we provide, but as the district having something internally, perhaps we can look into it.
Okay.
And develop something for presentation during committee.
I'm bringing in something similar in the way of finding out in January that we're working on, but it's interesting to see. I don't have a problem with it. No, my thinking has always been, we go through
How do you
this-
measure
we
whether
go-
it's working or
Yeah, well, we go
not?
through this process of buying things, and we're overwhelmed because we get to sit up here and listen to it, but we don't, sometimes the reporting aspect of it, getting feedback to say, well, this thing that we bought last year, this $10 million that we spent on this, well, it's working, and we're headed in the right direction with it, and this is why. A simple update on that is a good way of us keeping track and not being so much overwhelmed and thinking, wow, I'm sitting up here, I get to think about those things sometimes when it's too late, and we don't have an organized way of reporting these type of things. So
Yes.
I'll bring it up in January, though.
Sure. Item 4H, RFP number 15-008. This is delinquent tax statement services. The Evaluation Committee recommends awarding a contract to Laser Printers and Mailing Services for an estimated amount of $30,000. Item 4I, this is for Region 1 Co-op vendor number 12-09-04 and Task B by Board Co-op vendor number 455-14, and this is for band instruments. The Evaluation Committee recommends awarding a contract to Woodwind and Brasswind, to Tuba Exchange, Shar Products Company, West Music, Melhart, and Southwest Strings for an estimated amount of $749,606.
Dr. Moreno?
Yes.
Thank you. So I just want to make sure, so this $749,000 purchase for band instruments is the second big purchase we've made this year? Okay. And has the first order come in?
been
The
completed.
kids are using them? Okay. And is there another purchase then that will be made
Next year.
at the beginning of the fiscal year next year? And it's part of our 3-year purchase plan? Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Item 4J, RFP number 15-035. This is for auctioneer services. The Evaluation Committee recommends awarding a contract to Capco Auctioneering Services for an estimated amount of $25,000.
Is this money we pay them or money they make from our sales?
Yes, it's their commission coming out of the sales. Last year, we spent $9,000, but we want to bring it forth because,
You mean they made 9,000 from our?
yes, that's what we paid them from the proceeds. Yes,
From the
ma'am.
proceeds, right.
Yes.
And what percentage do we pay them?
3.5.
It's 30%. 20? 20%, sorry.
That includes, that includes the fees and the commissions? As part of the, okay, good.
Okay.
So the other, may I proceed?
Yes, Dr. Nelson, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Ms. Ayala, I appreciate it. What we wanted to say on the bids and quotes is, for the record, we do anticipate another bid and quote, and it's not here because the Evaluation Committee just met, and it's regarding the LISD, what we call Veterans Baseball Field. It's a chain link fence around the perimeter. So it's a conversation, it'll be on here, and actually, what we're going to ask is that the board consider approving 4A through 4J, and then we'd like to present for 4K for the first time on Tuesday, and we'll have information with it and the whole 9 yards.
Is that removing the wooden wall and putting chain link fence?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, I don't mind, we can't really get into it because it's not on the
I know.
agenda, but that is the concern that has been brought up, but
I
we'll
got
bring all that. Just didn't want you to be surprised. May I proceed, Dr. Moreno?
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 5 is discussion and update on the 2015 State of the District Report and timeline to complete the summative evaluation of the superintendent. Dr. Moreno, Mr. Garza, as you know, today, our office is submitting the State of the District Report. It looks like this. and it is at your docket right now. For those board members that are not here, we will deliver it tomorrow in the board update. It also has a blank copy of the summative evaluation form that we've used in the past, and I would like to just ask that we open the window of completing our summative activity as we've customarily done according to our calendar, starting Wednesday, December 16th, and it would complete on Friday, January 8th. And then we would schedule a special called meeting for Monday, January 11th, to complete the summative evaluation. And we also will have an agenda item at that meeting to approve the 2016 calendar. So it'll be 2 agenda items to consider and act on the evaluation, and then to approve the calendar. Any comments or questions?
What date's the 11th?
It's a Monday,
Monday, okay.
so.
Ask a question on this.
Yes. Wait.
Let me get this straight. So we're going to meet on this a couple of times before we approve, and in the form of a special call meeting, so we can go over this?
No, what happens is when we give you this is our state of the district report that is supposed to be used by each trustee to really complete the summative evaluation.
Correct.
What we would do when I ask to open up a window, that's so that we can have a one-on-one conversation, just like we've done with both formatives, submit this, and most trustees look at this as,
Right.
here's the final feedback. So when I say open the window, the only special call meeting would be the meeting where we go in closed session and we talk about the summative. It also will have that TEA document that summarizes our data from year to year. That's not here, but we'll present that in the board update before we leave for Christmas break.
So we have, our job right now is to go ahead and get this done, flag the areas that we want to discuss with you
And then we
as
meet.
part of the, okay.
Yes.
And so this is for Christmas for us. Thank you.
Absolutely. Merry
Appreciate
Christmas. Absolutely. May we proceed?
Who's Christmas?
Yes, or something.
Appreciate
yeah.
that.
Naughty or nice. May we proceed?
Yes.
Item number 6 is discussion and update on the facilities naming process. I've had an opportunity to visit with Dr. Moreno about this item. We have followed the practice that we've used for the last several years, where our current board officers have been identified as the facilities naming committee. So for the record, that would include Dr. Moreno as the chair of that committee. Mr. Hector Noyola would be a part of that committee, and Mr. Jesus Martinez. What we've agreed to do is there's been several trustees that would like to see this for consideration over the next, as soon as possible. We believe we should open the window beginning the regular board meeting December the 15th, Tuesday, December 15th, and keep that open until February 1st, 2016. At that point, I would work with the committee where myself and the 3 committee members our office would collect all of the potential names, and it would be collated on a chart. And the way it's worked in the past is the committee then would go over all of those names, ask a series of questions, usually have staff go and provide some more information so that we can prepare some type of recommendation for the business support meeting in February. So that's our plan right now. Obviously, it could change, but I think we do have several names that several trustees would like to see considered. And so this is basically opening the window approximately 2 months. By the time we go to discuss it, it will have been open for 2 months. And so
When was the last time that we had a window?
I want to say a year, October of 14.
Okay.
Was this before any other committee before that we were discussing? I don't remember even ever discussing any naming, which I don't have a problem with it. I know, was it student services or just?
No.
It went over
What
Okay.
happened is there was a time where Student Services was the facilities naming committee. But what happened was that committee met in my office and made the same process that we're
Okay.
using. And so now it's been over a year. I want to say it may have been before 14.
That's
So-
fine, that's fine.
But this is, we're trying to clean it up and bring it in a way that's transparent and fair,
No
so that's where
problem.
we're at. All right, any other comments or questions on the facilities naming?
Which you were an officer last time, right?
Right.
And you never got a
I
chance
never
to
got a
meet.
chance.
You were in the committee, but you never got a chance to meet. So that tells us that it had been that long
That
since
long,
we've
it's
met.
time.
Okay.
So this, you have a copy of the form and the
I kind of
policy.
felt left out there for a little bit, so
Yes.
it's all right.
You're okay. May we proceed?
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 7 is discussion and presentation on the 2014-2015 Texas Accountability Performance Report, known as our TAPER report, formerly known as Academic Excellence Indicator System, AEIS. We'd like to submit this today. You have a copy of it. It is entitled TAPER 2014-2015. We received this right before Thanksgiving break. And what we would like to do, as we did in the Curriculum and Instruction Committee meetings, we want the board to have an opportunity to review this. We're supposed to present it to the public. We've scheduled the hearing for Tuesday, December 15th at 5:15. And so in the interest of time, Dr. Moreno, if it's okay, instead of going through this now, we'll save it for the hearing.
That's
Each
fine.
board member has received it, and we encourage them to review and ask questions either beforehand or at the hearing. Any comments or questions on the TAPER report? If not, may we proceed?
Yes.
If it's okay, I'd like to request to table item number 8. You have the PowerPoint, and really what it was is, in our local media recently, there's been lots of activity regarding our homeless students and our relationship with Bethany House and Casa Misericordia and several other local nonprofits. And we just wanted to allow our coordinator for homeless students to present an overview of the program, but she's been tied up in she's having car troubles, and so we're going to table this item.
Okay.
All right, may we proceed? Item number 9 is discussion and presentation on the Memorandum of Understanding between the Laredo Independent School District Pregnancy, Education, and Parenting Program and Serving Children and Adults in Need, SCAN, for the purpose of coordinating drug intervention activities, services for pregnant and postpartum females during the 2015-2016 school year. This is our annual agreement between our school district, our PEP program, and SCAN. It is coordinated in our Office of Secondary Education, and it's no cost to the district. Any comments or questions?
I brought this question last year on, I know what you're saying here.
I'm listening.
And I was kind of, so we're not doing anything for men, this is just for women, right?
You know, that's a good point. This actual agreement includes the fathers of the, so when they work in this program, you can either be a female student that's given birth, or you can be the father, a parent. So either way, they work with both of them. It is written here as if it's females, but no, it's actually the male and the female.
Just
We'll
wanna
get you some
make sure that the
clarification.
importance of staying together and owning up is part of the process.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Item number 10 is discussion and presentation to approve a resolution recognizing the Webb County 4-H organization as eligible for extracurricular status under 19, I think it's Chapter 19, Texas Administrative Code, Chapter 76.1, pertaining to extracurricular activities and appointment of adjunct faculty. This is necessary for the kids to get credit for participating in all of the various 4-H activities that we have for our children, and identify our teachers, and so that we can go forward with that program. Any comments or questions?
Next.
Item number 11 is discussion and presentation to approve the amendment proposed by the Webb County Commissioners Court Head Start Program. This is duly discussed at our Curriculum and Instruction Committee meeting, and I can't exactly remember what it's asking for, but it's our annual relationship with Head Start. There's a copy of it for you to review if you have any questions.
I
Right,
think
about-
it clarifies that, and I think that maybe when you put it on the agenda for the regular meeting, we can add a little language. We are supposed to be communicating
About meals and...
what it's about.
Right.
This doesn't
That's my fault.
give anybody
my fault.
information, anybody that's just wanting to know what's going on.
And this, for the record, it's about meals agreements.
Right.
And what we provide and what they provide, and so we'll clarify that language
And-
by the
and
time we
We saw
print.
that at the committee meeting, but we need to be a little more specific on the regular agenda.
Yes, ma'am. Item number 12, I'd like to table it at this time. For the record, we've been having conversations with Texas A&M International. It's been coordinated with Dr. Kevin Lindberg at TAMU and through our Office of Secondary Education with Mr. Oscar Pettis. We've involved several other offices, including the principal and counselor from Early College High School, our Advanced Academics Department, our Counseling and Guidance and Counseling Department, and several others. And we're pretty close. We just need to tighten up a few clarifications on adjunct faculty and some other things. We'll bring it for approval in January. Any comments or questions?
13?
Item number 13 is discussion and presentation on amendments to the current Ryan Elementary Memorandum of Understanding to include lighting for basketball courts that will be provided by the City of Laredo at no cost to the district. Very proud of the leadership provided by Trustee Garza, who contacted the city councilman on the initial canopy and upgrades at Ryan Elementary. They've now continued that relationship to add lights to Ryan, which, if approved, with no cost to the district, will basically not only provide basketball lighting, but safety and security lighting for the entire Four Corners walking complex of Ryan. Mr. Garza, do you have anything you'd like to add to this since you led the effort?
No, just that it just goes to show when you associate yourself with the appropriate people, that how things can get done at between partnerships that can form between the city and LISD. Very proud of it, because this is just the beginning of what I think will be other
Partnerships.
fruitful partnerships from the city and LISD. So I'm proud.
Well said. May we proceed, Dr. Moreno?
Yes.
Item number 14, we also would like to table. I mentioned it earlier. For the record, it's an agenda item regarding the final release of retainage with VMT. I had a chance to visit with our Executive Director of Plant Facilities and Support Services. We're very close to being completely done with the VMT project, but we really want to make sure that the principal, the Director of Construction Services, the Executive Director, myself, all have had a chance to review what we're bringing to the board. So we will bring that in January. Any comments or questions?
Next.
Item number 15 is discussion and presentation to accept the final completion and the release of retainage in the amount of $50,303 to American Contracting USA for the Capital Improvement Plan 2013-2014 metal canopy projects. We've just about, for the record, RFCSP number 14-031. Dr. Moreno, Mr. Garza, we have pretty much gotten to where we're comfortable with these projects.
Could we get everybody's signature on these also?
Absolutely. We'll do that before we bring it. If not, we'll pull it.
Okay.
Yes. Item number 16 is discussion and presentation. Let me make a note real quick. Item number 16 is discussion and presentation to accept deductive change order number 001 from American Contracting Incorporated metal canopy projects included on the CIP Capital Improvement Plan 2013-2014 RFCSP number 14-031 in the amount of $1,038 for unused contingency allowances included in the original contract amount
So this,
is deductive.
yes, this is going to be less. That means there's money left
Give
over.
it back,
Where
right.
will it be going into? What's the account?
Again, it's left in the project until a new project comes along, then we move those funds into the new approved project.
So it won't appear as fund, is this 199 money, or was this bond
No,
series?
these, no, we use capital improvement? Oh. It's capital improvement money.
Which means
No,
it
we
goes
can
in-
address another project with it, yeah. We'll bump up something, so we won't spend it at the end of the year.
Okay,
May we proceed?
yes.
Item number 17 is discussion and presentation to approve the issuance of a request for bids for the sale of real properties owned by the district. Dr. Moreno, Mr. Garza, you have this document? Ms. Rodriguez, does the board have this document yet?
Yes, we got a copy of it in our backup.
I don't think so, because we just finished it this afternoon.
And then we got a different
So maybe it's an update. And really, thank you. What you have, Mr. Velasquez, would you like to provide the Board of Trustees a brief overview of the document we're submitting in this meeting for consideration? Before Mr. Velasquez introduces it, the bottom line, the summary is that, Mr. Garza, this is the agenda item on properties. We have a few that we're recommending that we go ahead and put out for sale, but it's really the will of the board, because you had asked for a comprehensive list of all the properties that need consideration, so we can add or delete as much. You want to give a little overview of what we've submitted and how you developed this?
Yes, and basically, for the record, Angel Velasquez, this is in response to some of the comments that we heard from the Board of Trustees. As you know, currently the City of Laredo is developing, a new outlet mall and all that. So during our operations meeting a couple of months ago, there was a comment saying basically we don't have to rush it. Maybe, eventually we can get more for every property that we have in the downtown area. So as of right now, if we want to be, careful about what we sell, we still feel very comfortable advertising those three properties right now. I can certainly say that, we can continue with another, couple of properties that, in my opinion, eventually the development of this, it might take like 10, 12 years. Eventually, we see some development when it comes to apartment complexes and buildings of that sort. We might see a change in the value of the property, but I don't think it's going to be in the short term. So, as you know, the buildings are deteriorating with time, and I think it would be a good idea. Our recommendation is just to start with the advertisement of,
I think this is a
some of
good
these buildings.
recommendation, that we start with a few, and
Work from there.
that'll tell us about what to continue with. But
Any-
definitely a good recommendation.
And if anybody
Well,
shows any interest on anything else, any other party comes in with an interest in a particular property,
We do have
we bring it back for consideration.
Definitely, yeah. We do have other buildings that are not highlighted right now, that are vacant, that are available. If it's the will of the board, we can definitely, continue and advertise them immediately, or, we can bring updates if you wish. But we have that opportunity right away.
Well, let's start with the recommendation.
One question I have, Dr. Moreno, is I've been approached as recently as today about people who, they don't necessarily want to buy it, they want to create a program in the house. Is that something that, well, let me give you an example. There's a project called the Greenhouse Project, and it is a medical relationship where basically through collaboration with LCC and the medical community, you provide Alzheimer's patients secured medical facility
Yeah.
in one of the houses. And I thought it was an innovative idea, and I don't have much information, but I thought, well, maybe instead of selling them, maybe we let people use them or rent them, or I don't know, is that something we want to get
I
into,
think
or?
the main issue is that they will deteriorate their homes. They were never buildings to be used as offices. That's the main thing, that maintaining them for anybody is,
Going to be costly.
Well,
Very
if you have more than 5, 10 people working it, I mean, they're not meant to take that type of a hit,
I see what you're
these
saying.
type of homes, so. But, not to say, not to knock that down, there is some of them that probably could be used for it. The only thing that I suggest is that, and don't spend too much time on this, is just to get an idea of what it's gonna take to get them ready for sale. In other words,
I see.
some of them are deteriorating as we speak. Obviously, we hold on for them to the next 10 years. It's gonna be that much harder to get rid of them. Number two is if we do continue to use them, at what rate? But, which, by the way, we do fall under the historical guidelines also,
Yes, sir.
which is one of the reasons I want to,
Yeah.
they're becoming so strict and so adamant about what they do, which maybe I don't blame them, but the thing is that we're a public entity and we're not, we don't have the type of funds to continue to hold them up to their standards, pretty much.
Sure. So, okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to ask for this agenda item to be on the consent agenda to approve as recommended by staff. Okay? That brings us to our community.
maybe to approve the advertisement for sale of the identified project.
As identified and.
As
okay.
identified.
And we'll have this as the background. Okay. That brings us to communications and updates. I wanted to, first of all, start, I'm not sure if we did this.
Number 18?
I'm sorry.
Just
Thank
one
you.
more.
Item number 18 is discussion and presentation to approve the local assessment fee commitment agreement from the Region 1 Education Service Center for special service projects for the 2015-2016 year for an estimated amount of $26,605.32. Dr. Moreno, Mr. Garza, this is our annual agreement for several different services that we use each year with the Service Center. It includes technical assistance related to human resources and finance, PEMS reviews and data disaggregation, all financial consulting services, superintendent trainings, and it's really just a standard form of relationship we have with Region 1. We've included the information as presented, and we're hoping to get this approved on consent agenda. Any comments or questions?
Nope.
If not, that brings us to our communications and updates. I wanted to start by recognizing our Mr. Garza celebrated a birthday since we've met last, so I wanted to say happy birthday to him on November 26th.
Correct.
All right, had that memorized. You're welcome. Also, I wanted to be sure and say that on Tuesday, December 15th, at 5:30, we'll have our regular board meeting. And on December 17th, Miss Maggie Martinez celebrates her birthday. We wanted to wish her a very happy birthday. And we will be having our district tamalada on the 16th, or on Friday, December 18th at our office. And so we have a well-organized plan. The members of the cabinet will be serving. Our board members will serve as host if you'd like, if your schedule will allow. And that's all the
We
updates.
forgot one more. Forgot Mr. Valdez's birthday was
Right.
December
right.
7th also.
I was just, you kind of got to be present to get recognized, but.
Oh, no, I'm just saying that, so don't forget it on Tuesday.
I'm sorry, what? Yeah, he's, right, Mr. Kazin had a birthday too.
Mr. Kazin
God bless
also.
him, yeah.
It's just Sagittarius got to stick together, I'm sorry.
Sagittarius got to stick together, y'all stick together. Okay.
So that concludes our agenda items.
Yes, ma'am, that concludes